Hi everyone, it's me, Sakura, and welcome back to another reaction video. Today we're going to react to a chef named Ian Fujimoto, and the name of the video that we're going to react to is How Far Can a $5 Costco Chicken Really Go? Now, I love Costco's rotisserie chicken. I don't care if it's unhealthy or whatever. I don't care. It tastes good. And it's cheap. And so we're going to react to what I guess what can be done with a Costco chicken. Um Before we start the video though, if you like my content, my reaction videos to these videos, hit the like button and the subscribe button because every little bit helps me make more of these videos. Now, with that said, let's get into it.
This is arguably the most famous chicken in the world, the Costco rotisserie. But today, I'm gonna show you how to turn it into something even better. There's chicken.
I think the only ones I would eat is the chicken miso ramen and maybe the chicken and cheese taquitos. I've never had Chinese chicken salad before, so I have no idea what's inside it, but I'm not a fan of salad at all.
Juices everywhere. Now we're going to be using one chicken to make 3 totally different and incredibly easy meals. And by the end of this, there will be absolutely 0 waste on this chicken. Now to start off with our Chinese chicken salad, we're going to need to harvest a chicken breast. And if your chicken is hot enough and fresh enough, then you should be able to just kind of wiggle your thumb in there and pull.
The thing about trying to cut the Costco chicken when it's hot is it's hot. It burns trying to shred it with your hands when it's hot. I wonder if there's another way to shred it good.
Pull it away from the bone. For the most part, you might need a little bit of caressing, but if your chicken is cold because you're not doing this in the parking lot, then you'll likely need to cut it off of the bone, which is fine. All you need to do is just start at the center, and you're gonna cut along and down, and just slowly pull it back. We're also gonna take this time to remove the skin, which you have 2 options for throughout this video. One, you can snack on it because it's...
Yeah, the skin is the best part of a chicken. I know it's not good for you, but it tastes so good. And I feel like food tasting good is better than healthy. Just my opinion, though.
delicious and awesome. Or 2, we'll use it later, I'll show you. But once we get this chicken breast removed, you can go ahead and just pull it off and move it over to our bowl. Don't forget to go back through here and grab anything that you might have missed. And then we'll just set this to the side for the next recipe. And now that we have our chicken breast all on its own, all we need to do is just shred it, which in my case, it's warm enough that it's gonna fall apart on its own. It's not so hot that I need to do it with a fork. But
Okay,
however you get there.
Definitely cool it down a little bit.
You just want to make sure it's nice and shredded into pieces that are not too big, but also not too small. Or whatever size piece you like, because this is your food. And make sure as you're going through here to feel for any bones that might have slipped through, because you don't want to chew on that. That would suck. Then once you've got this chicken all nice and shredded, we're just going to go ahead and set this to the side. Now for the produce of it all, we're starting with half a Napa cabbage, but that's really only because my store sells it in half a Napa cabbage. We really only need about 1/4 of it, so if you can find 1/4, great. If you can only find a whole, then I'm sorry, but you only need 1/4 of it. But whatever Napa size that you have, all you're gonna do is you're gonna cut off those tips.
That cabbage, that's the type of cabbage that you usually use for Korean kimchi. Fun fact.
At least I like to cut off the tips. Find that sometimes they get beat up, but alternatively,
I personally don't really eat kimchi, but if you ever want to make kimchi, that's the type of cabbage you have to use.
You could totally use them, it's up to you. And then we're just gonna cut this into thin strips, like a shredded lettuce sort of deal. And now that we've got roughly, let's say 1.5 quarts of shredded cabbage, we're gonna move that over to a salad spinner because it has to get washed. But before we wash it, we can move on to our super cute red cabbage. You're gonna need far less of this.
See, I said this in another video. That red cabbage is not red. I vote that we call it purple cabbage from now on because it's purple. It's not red.
This is really more just to add color, but if you also really like red cabbage, feel free to use more. If your red cabbage is not as tiny as mine, then you may need to do a little bit less, but I'm gonna do about half of this red cabbage. Cutting out the core, so that way I can just cut all the way through without having to worry about it. And then we can just move that over with our Napa cabbage. So now we'll take this and we're going to wash it and rinse it and wash it and rinse it until all the water is completely clear, and then we're going to spin the life out of it until it's completely dry. Also make sure you're using cold water because hot water will make it wilt. This is essentially the same thing you would do with your rice. But then you can just dump that right on.
I've never used one of those before. But again, I don't eat salad, so I would have no use for that.
On top of your shredded chicken. Ooh, I need a bigger bowl.
Oh, that's way too much vegetable versus chicken.
Please. Good enough. Now in addition to that, we're also gonna go ahead and shred up a carrot. I'm gonna start by just removing the outer skin, or like a carrot circumcision. And if you have a little shredder thing, then great, you can use that, or if not, you can use like a box grater. Both of those will work, just use the smallest setting you possibly can. And then once you're left with this limpness, just save it for later because we're gonna use it. But as for our shredded carrots, we can go ahead and just add those right on top. And next up we have a couple cucumbers. These you can do kind of however you want. It's really more about just getting out that wet inside.
So many vegetables, sheesh.
Because the wet inside is what's gonna cause your salad to go soggy. But I find the best way is to just slice them in half and then using some sort of small spoon to just scoop out all the guts, like this. This really will just help them maintain their crunch in the salad after you add dressing and it sits there for a little bit. And then from here, we can just slice them up into little half-disc moon things and then just move those over as well. And for the final bit of chopping, some green onions. I like to slice them up on a little bit of a bias, but really it's up to you however you like. But I do find that the more surface area they have, the easier they are to pick up with chopsticks, but if you're using a fork, then it really doesn't matter too much. Now for your dressing, you absolutely do not need a stick blender or any blender. You could just do this by hand. You'll just need to absolutely pulverize your ginger and garlic, which you can totally do with a knife, so don't stress. But start by adding about 3 tablespoons of sesame oil.
Yeah, I'm not very good at mincing or whatever, ginger or garlic. I'm not very good at crushing it and dicing it and mincing it.
2 tablespoons of unseasoned rice vinegar, about a 1/4 cup of soy sauce or shoyu, 1/4 cup of sugar as well, because it makes it taste good, but you could also just use like another sweetener of your choice. About a 1/4 cup of neutral oil, a 1-inch knob of ginger, 2 cloves of garlic, about half a lemon's worth of lemon juice. Don't drip, don't drip, don't drip. And then a small pinch of salt. And then from there, you can just go ahead and taste and adjust to your preference. Much easier. It's good. Now to toss your salad, you can absolutely just use...
Who tastes salad dressing with a straw? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Salad tossers, but I find you use a bowl of the same size and you grip it with all of your bite. It's much more efficient. Ready for it? Ready for it? Mixed. Now, if you're gonna eat this in the next like 10 to 15 minutes, pour on your dressing, give it another good shake. But if you're making this ahead of time and you're like, I'll eat it later, hold off on your dressing because when you put the dressing on there, the more longer it sits, the less soggier it gets, the less good it is. So just keep that in mind before you start dressing your salad. Personally, I think with salads, it's just easiest to let people dress it themselves, but whatever you like to do. And whenever you do decide to serve it, don't forget to top it with a little bit of sesame seeds and some wonton crisps. Before we get into the next recipe, I want to take a moment to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, you. Because quite literally, none of this would be possible without you. Whether you're watching the videos or subscribed to the Substack or just following on socials, every single bit of it helps to support me, helps to support this channel, and helps to support bringing you high quality content. So truly, I cannot thank you enough for everything that you've done for me, my family, for these videos. Thank you so much. And now for our next meal, we're gonna be making one of my all-time favorite comfort meals, chicken and cheese taquitos. I don't know about you, but I can tell you firsthand that I grew up on these, and I still...
When I was in college, I used to eat a lot of taquitos. It was my go-to because, you were able to, just buy a, decent amount of it for pretty cheap, and they were pretty fast to cook in a microwave because that's all we had in our dorms.
To this day can devour a box without breaking a sweat, and I sweat profusely. But for this recipe, we're gonna be using all of our leg quarter meat. So all that dark meat, all the stuff that's really juicy, you know, the part that you and your siblings would fight over when you were reaching into the KFC bucket. And for this recipe, you can leave your chicken...
Yeah, the leg is always the best part.
In fairly large pieces, still shredded, but you definitely want chunks in there. And don't forget to remove that skin. Also, I don't know if you can hear it, but the construction workers are doing a lot of work next door today. They have some large machine that's making a ton of noise, and when I tried to ask how long it would be, all I got was a thumbs up. So yeah. But back to this, don't worry if you're missing pieces of chicken. If there's little pieces here and there, it's not gonna go to waste. Our final recipe is going to use up all of it. And now next up, we're gonna just go ahead and chop up about half of a red bell pepper, but it also doesn't have to be red because reds are more expensive than the green ones. So if you want to use green, use green. Or also in my case, my half a red bell pepper is pretty substantially sized. So if you want to use a little bit more or a little bit less, totally up to you. In either case, we're just going to want to lay this out flat. We're going to cut these into very long strips, being very careful.
Yeah, that's how I usually cut my bell peppers, into those strips. Except I cut them into short strips.
Not to cut your fingers off because that would suck. Then we'll just rotate it and we'll just cut these into tiny little cubes. And then from there, we'll do something fairly similar with an onion. With an onion, half an onion. Just cut your onion in half. Don't swing it around.
That's like something I would do. I'm like really clumsy.
That was a poor choice on my part, I'm sorry. That could have been bad, okay. Then we're just gonna go ahead and slice around the sun, making sure not to cut all the way to the end. Rotate, and then very carefully dice it. Going a lot slower now. Now in a stainless steel skillet on about medium-high heat, we're gonna add in a little bit of neutral oil, and then we're just gonna go ahead and cook down our onion and pepper. Add in a little pinch of salt, and then we're gonna let these cook for about 10 minutes because we do want these to get fairly soft. And there's two ways you can help ensure that you don't burn your onions and peppers. The first is just to keep it moving. As long as it's moving, it's not giving it a chance to burn. But if you've gotten a little bit close, a splash of water. It'll deglaze your pan and actually help you cook all of it down more evenly. So give it a try. Now once all this has gotten nice and soft.
Yeah, I always add a little bit of water when I'm cooking something just to let it cook more evenly.
Then any water that you added has fully evaporated. We're gonna go ahead and move it over to our chicken. No man left behind. And now into our bowl, we're gonna add in about half a block of cream cheese, softened to be specific. And if you want
cream cheese. I've never seen cream cheese in a taquito before. But I don't know. Maybe there is cream cheese in taquito. I don't know.
To add a little more to make it extra creamy, then go for it. Then about 4 ounces of shredded mild cheddar cheese, as well as 4 ounces of shredded Monterey Jack. And no, I have not found my box grater yet, and at this point I should probably buy another one, but I refuse because the second that I buy one, I'm gonna find it. Next up is about 2 tablespoons.
No, I'm the same way. Every time I buy something new because I thought I lost something, I find it.
Of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons.
But then that's a good thing, isn't it? Because if you actually do lose something, then you'll have it back up.
Of cumin and a couple teaspoons of chili powder. Oh, that's a lot of chili powder. Oopsie. Now we can carefully fold all this together.
I see what you do with those spice bottles. He abbreviated them so it can look like it can look like the chemicals on the elements on the periodic table.
Together into one homogeneous mix of deliciousness. The big thing here is you want to make sure you don't have any random clumps of cream cheese left over, because that's the thing that's binding and holding everything together. But once it's all nice and mixed up, we're ready to start filling and rolling. Now, generally speaking, it's more common to use a corn tortilla, but in my case, I like to use flour tortillas. They come out a little bit light.
Okay, so I've never actually hand rolled a taquito. Only because I'm not very good at hand rolling anything.
And a little bit crispier, and that's just how I like it. They're also significantly easier to work with because corn tortillas, if they're not warm enough, then they're just gonna start breaking and tearing, versus flour tortillas, you can use them cold, you can use them warm, like they're much more pliable. But either way, you're gonna start by scooping on about 3 tablespoons of your mixture onto your tortilla. But please bear in mind that amount might be a little bit different for you depending on the size of tortillas that you're using. In my case, about 3 tablespoons. But also after you roll a couple, you'll start to get a feel for how much. Now I've laid that just off center. I'm gonna take my back end, fold it over, and then I'm just going to tuck and roll. Boom, just like that. Now, to keep it from
it looks pretty simple.
Unrolling, I like to take a toothpick, throw it in right at the lip at an angle, and push it on through. I'll keep it nice and tight. Then we'll just set that to the side and repeat. Now, I rolled 12 thick ones, but again, depending on how much filling you actually put in, it may differ slightly. But generally speaking, around 12, 3 per person, good serving size. But either way, we now need to decide how we want to cook them. You can absolutely lay them on a baking sheet, give them a little spritz, throw them into the oven at like 400 degrees and cook for about 15 minutes. Do the same thing with an air fryer too. Just will never be quite as crispy and delicious as deep frying. So we're gonna deep fry it. We're gonna start by filling a high-walled saucepan with about 1 inch of oil. It doesn't need to cover the whole thing because we're gonna end up flipping them halfway. Bring this up to about 375 degrees. And now once your oil is up to temp, you're just gonna go ahead and very carefully lay down 2, don't dip your fingers in hot oil. 2
I've done that so many times.
to 3 of your taquitos. You don't want to overcrowd your pan because that's going to drop your oil temperature too low. Then we're going to let these cook on one side for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and then flip to the other side and do the same. And then once those are golden and crispy all around, we'll just remove them and let them drain on a wire rack. And all we have to do is just continue and repeat with the rest of our taquitos. Man, I'm just trying to lose a finger today. And then while your next batch is frying, you can go ahead and just carefully pull out the toothpicks. And now that we have these absolutely delicious, crispy, golden,
those actually look really, really good.
Cheesy, gooey, ooey, insert adjective, logs of goodness, we can plate. A little shredded lettuce, sour cream, maybe a little guacamole.
No sour cream and guacamole and all that stuff for me now.
Tomatoes, cilantro, and some imaginary cotija cheese that I forgot to get at the store. And now for our final recipe, miso chicken ramen. Now we're gonna start this recipe
I love ramen.
by removing the skin and harvesting the last chicken breast. Again, we're just gonna go up against that spine bone and we're gonna bring our knife and drag it all the way down, just like this. Then we're gonna need to grab all of the skin. And when I say that, I mean like just the skin. So any meat parts on it, go ahead and just scrape that off. We only want the skin. This part is 100% optional if you decided to eat all the skin as you were going, which totally fine.
Is he going to make the skin crispy?
But if you decided not to, then you're in for a little treat. Now, the big thing that we need to get started on is our ramen broth, which is how we're going to use up all of our chicken carcass. Now, I'm using an Instant Pot, but by no means do you have to. You can 100% do this on a stovetop pressure cooker or just in a regular old pot. But if you're using a pot, it'll just take you a lot longer. 9 times out of 10, I'll do it in a pot. But if I'm being entirely honest with you, because I'm filming this long video, it's be a pain if I...
Instant Pots are much more convenient, and you can just set it and walk away. I love my Instant Pot.
We're to like film all day long. So I'm already filming all day long. It's going on like, we're on like hour 5 now, but if I was to do this on the stove, then it would tack on like an extra 4 hours, which no. But either way, once you've gotten that carcass in there, you can go ahead and just break it up a little bit so that way it's got the most surface area. And additionally, you could have also roasted your bones first, but in this case, I'm just not gonna. And in addition to our chicken, we're gonna cut up about 3 stalks of celery. Nothing too specific, just make sure you toss away the butts. And then we'll do the same for about 3 carrots, also chopping off those booties. And the last...
This is a very, very Western way of making a stock.
bit of produce we're gonna do
Asian stock does not work like this.
An entire yellow onion, which we're just gonna go ahead and cut into quarters and toss in there. Yes, Goosey, mommy's coming home soon. He misses his mom, and I also miss her. And for aromatics, we've got a head of garlic, a few inches of ginger, a couple bay leaves, and about a tablespoon of black peppercorns.
Bay leaves. Okay, yeah, so this is a very, very Western stock.
And now we'll just
Which I don't know why he's doing that for a Japanese stock.
take this to the sink, and we're gonna fill this up until everything is fully submerged, just like this. Now we can just add back on our lid, and we're gonna cook this on high for an hour and 30 minutes, and then let it naturally release. Lost power, sick. Okay, I think I fixed it. Turns out I had too many things plugged in. So pressure cooker, it's now in the living room, whatever works. Anyways, while our pressure cooker is pressure cooking, we're gonna work on our crispy skin. And to start, you just need a wire rack, and you're gonna lay your skin out completely flat on top, making sure there's nothing that is
Crispy skin is always the best. I love chicken skin.
overlapping, because any overlap is not gonna get crispy. And that's the whole point, we want crispy. And then now we can throw this into a 400-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes or until they all turn crispy. And after these are dark brown, delicious, and crispy, we're going to carefully peel them off the rack. Right now they're still a little bit pliable, so we can just go ahead and lift on some of these corners, get them to pop off, just like that. And then now that I think about it, you didn't actually have to be that careful because we're actually just gonna break them up, put them into a bowl, sprinkle them with a little bit of salt, and then we're just gonna use the back of a spoon to gently crush these. We don't want it into a powder. We still definitely want like visible pieces.
But I think my favorite topping is still chashu on my ramen.
But this way we can sprinkle it all up on top for every bite to have a delicious, crispy goodness. Now for the rest of our toppings, we're gonna need to fill a pot with water, and we're gonna place in 2 room temp-ish eggs and bring this up to a boil. And while you wait, you wanna go ahead and get a small ice bath ready. And you know what? We are gonna multitask. Since we already have our ice bath going, we're just gonna go ahead and cut up our green onions so we can give them some time to hang out in that ice bath and curl up. And for that, all you need to do is just cut your green onions into roughly 3-inch sections, and then we'll just go ahead and split each one of those sections in half. Then we can just lay those sections flat, and we'll slice them into very thin strips. And then all we need to do is just move those into our ice bath. And then now that our water has started to boil, we're gonna set a timer for 7 minutes. And you could do less if you wanted something that was definitely more yolky, or you could do more if you wanted to be more cooked through, but just wait and see how it turns out and then adjust for what you need. Then
Yeah, I think most Japanese eggs for ramen is soft-boiled eggs.
once that time is up, we're just gonna carefully remove those and move them over to our ice bath. If you wanted to, you could use a separate ice bath, but the way I see it is like, why? But anyways, the next thing we're gonna be working on is our bok choy, which is going to cook super quick. I've got these baby bok choys that I have from another video, and so I'm just gonna use those, but you absolutely could use the full size, totally up to you. Ooh, I need to wash these first. Hold please. And now that these are washed, we're just gonna go ahead and drop these in and let them blanch for 30-ish seconds. Really just want that color to get locked in. As you can see, it changes fairly quickly, and I don't want them to go soft and soggy. So after about 30 seconds, I'm gonna go ahead.
Yeah, mushy vegetables are even worse than vegetables.
And just remove those. And again, into our ice bath. At this point, you might want to get a bigger ice bath. I did not prepare for this, so it's okay. We're gonna make it work. And then now you can turn your water off and just let this sit, because eventually we're going to boil our noodles in. But for now, we want to mise all of our toppings, because once the broth is ready, once the noodles are ready, the assembly goes really quick. So we're gonna start off by slicing up our chicken. And to do that, we're gonna want to find the grain of our chicken, and we're just gonna cut against it. We want slices about 1/4 inch thick. You can go thicker if you like, but 1/4 inch is a solid size. And then we can just go ahead and lay those out. And if you're feeling extra, you can go ahead and torch these too. You could brush on a little bit of beef
Oh, so he's kind of making a chicken chashu.
fat and give it a little sear, you know? But we're not gonna do that, because that's like really extra. Like, I don't know. That'd be crazy, you know? I don't wanna do that.
So it's extra and does it anyway.
Ridiculous. Next up, we're just gonna go ahead and peel apart our bok choy. I didn't want full heads of bok choy just sitting in there. So that way, get a little bite every piece. No, a little piece in every bite. There it is. Plus, nobody wants to eat the butts. Then we can go ahead and just remove and dry off our green onions. Those should be nice and curly by now. Then we'll just go ahead and peel our soft-boiled eggs. There's a lot of different ways that people claim that are the easiest way to peel an egg. I don't know. I find that every single tip and trick works about 40% of the time. Other than that, it's like doesn't work. So I just resort to cracking it and peeling it off little by little, slowly by slowly, because there's nothing more infuriating than being like, oh, look at this trick, and it's like, doesn't work. Go ahead and cut that in.
Speaking of eggs, yesterday I go to the same supermarket that I bought my previous eggs, and my previous eggs, some were cracked. Yesterday, I buy more eggs, and they're cracked again. Now, I hate cracked eggs. If eggs are cracked, I won't eat the eggs that are cracked because, I feel like they'll be contaminated or something. I don't trust an egg that's cracked in the carton. I don't want to get food poisoning or get sick. It don't feel good.
Half. Ooh, overcooked it. It's alright. It'll still taste good. Let's see.
Sorry about that. Just smell right.
I also overcooked this one. Indeed I did. And now we have some very cute Hello Kitty kamaboko. Tell me that's not the cutest thing you've ever seen. And we'll go ahead and just get a few slices of that. For those of you who don't know, kamaboko is just fish cake, sort of like imitation crab, but compressed into a dense log. And the last bit of meat we need to do is just drain out our corn. Just gonna drain it, and then just gonna use it straight from the can. I would argue that there are probably a number of
corn. I think corn is uncommon, at least in traditional Japanese ramen. Corn is it's uncommon.
ramen places out there who have like corn on their menu as an add-on, and then I would argue that some of them, if not a lot of them, just use canned corn. Because like, why not? It's good. Boom. Prepped. Okay. And now that our broth is finished cooking, we can go ahead and safely remove. Wow, that looks so good. Our chicken bones have more or less just disintegrated in here, which is nice. And now we're
seeing now, that just looks like a Western chicken soup.
We're just gonna go ahead and very carefully.
I mean, I'm sure it'll taste good, but if I want ramen, I don't want a Western chicken soup with the ramen noodles in it.
Strain all of our broth into a bowl. I don't know where my other strainer is, but like my box grater, it's not where I thought it should be. Now we ended up with roughly 3 quarts of chicken stock. So that means we're gonna add in roughly 3 tablespoons of miso paste. Now, technically speaking, you don't have to do this. You could also just serve it as just chicken broth, and that's fine too, and that works, but this adds an extra layer to it that I would think most people would
I like spicy miso ramen.
like. And it really takes little to no effort to just that, So then once that is fully dissolved, I'm gonna do about 3 tablespoons worth of soy sauce just to help season it a bit more. And then now I just need to taste and adjust for salt. Need salt. It's whatever it is that you like, however much salt you like. If you wanna go low sodium, that's totally fine. Or if you wanna go high sodium, you can do that too. And the salt part is really gonna be personal preference. Perfect. And now the very last thing we need to do is just to cook our noodles. In my case, I'm using some fresh ones I got at the Asian market, but really you could just use packet top ramen if you really want to.
Oh no, don't do that. Please. If you're going to make ramen, like official ramen, don't use instant ramen. It's not going to taste the same. I promise you. Just go out and buy actual ramen noodles.
But if you have access to something like this, I would recommend this. Now we can start by adding in a couple scoops of our soup, followed by our noodles, and then we'll just finish it off with all of our toppings.
Well, that was a interesting video. But yeah, I love my Costco rotisserie chickens, as unhealthy as they are, because you can use them for a lot of things, you know. Um, you can use it for fried rice. You can make it for taquitos or tacos or burritos or anything really. Um, but yeah, if you liked his video, definitely give him a like and subscribe. And if you guys like my reactions to these videos, um, give me a like and a subscribe and a share because every little bit helps me make more of these contents. Until next time, bye.